The AZP-57 gun is well known to War Thunder players as the main armament of several Soviet anti-air vehicles and light tanks. The roar of the Soviet Mauler is unforgettable, whether you're an enemy pilot or a tanker. Today we'll tell you how to unlock its full potential. This Mauler is used on several combat vehicles, the most common of which is the ZSU-57-2 anti-aircraft gun. It can be found in the tech trees of the USSR, Italy, Israel, and Sweden, with only external differences between the models. The chassis of the vehicle is based on the T-54 tank, but the SPA-AG didn't inherit any of its armor. The Soviet Mauler is vulnerable to nearly any gun. Its open turret provides little protection. Fragments from high-explosive shells and sometimes even regular bullets can disable the crew or hit the ammo rack, resulting in an instant KO. The ZSU-57's standout feature is its twin 57mm autocannons that have access to regular shells with explosive filler, like the ones used by the T-34-57 tank. The twin barrels of this anti-aircraft gun can penetrate up to 130mm of armor at 500 meters, enough to punch through the side of any heavy tank or MBT, often sending the target to the hangar with the very first salvo. And if you miss, you can fire again almost immediately, thanks to the autocannon's rate of fire, which surpasses that of any tank gun. There are downsides, however. The ZSU-57-2 struggles to penetrate heavy vehicles from the front, and its optics aren't suited for sniper fire. Engaging aircraft is also tricky. You'll need to put in some work at the practice range first to get used to the ballistics. And even in battle, wait for the plane to fly in a predictable way. It's best to limit yourself to 4 or 5 volleys at a time to avoid attracting unwanted attention from tanks or planes. And the ZSU does attract attention. It's hard to miss the thunderous roar of its twin barrels and the massive open turret with the exposed crew enjoying the scenery. Despite its class, the ZSU-57's primary targets are ground vehicles. This anti-aircraft system is fully capable of knocking out several opponents in a row. Just act cautiously and waste no more than a couple of volleys per target. Tactics on the ZSU resemble those of the BMP infantry fighting vehicle. It's best to rush to good firing positions first and lay an ambush next to popular routes. However, keep in mind the high profile of the turret. It can be seen over many common obstacles, like the concrete blocks on Sweden. At first glance, the Chinese WZ-305 SPA-AG looks similar to the ZSU-57, but its heart is quite different. Its chassis, more powerful engine, and tougher hull are borrowed from the Type 69 main battle tank. However, the key difference is its access to the DKY-1 airburst HE shell, which excels at destroying helicopters and subsonic aircraft, making the WZ-305 much better suited for fulfilling anti-aircraft duties. By the way, when targeting fast aircraft, it can be useful to turn with the chassis as well, as the turret rotation speed of the vehicle is slower compared to its Soviet counterpart. The ballistics and power of the 57mm gun make it useful even in the 21st century. After the USSR ceased to exist, engineers continued experimenting with modified versions of this weapon on various prototypes, such as light tanks and anti-aircraft vehicles, represented in War Thunder by 2 models, the PT-76-57 and the 2S-38 Derivacja. The improved PT-76 is a glass cannon with a powerful stabilized gun, a laser rangefinder-equipped fire control system, and both smoke grenades and ESS. In a way, you'll need to be even more careful than on the anti-aircraft systems, though the stabilizer does make the PT-76-57 much more fearsome in flanking maneuvers and in close combat. Direct confrontations with MBTs are ill-advised, though. The armor of the tank barely withstands machine gun fire. Finally, let's talk about the 2S-38 Derivacja, the most modern combat vehicle equipped with a 57mm gun. As befits a 21st century vehicle, it comes with thermals, a laser rangefinder, a laser warning receiver, and an IRST system that can lock onto enemy aircraft and calculate lead times. The tracking system, combined with radio-fused HE shells and an ammo capacity of almost 150 rounds, makes it highly effective at engaging any aircraft you manage to detect. However, the Derivația lacks radar, so for air defense you'll need to stay vigilant. Keep an eye on the sky, monitor the hilly edges of the battlefield, and rely on intel from your teammates. If your LWR goes off, it's best to deploy a smokescreen and retreat. Since the Derivația is a light tank, it is also well suited to fight armored vehicles. The 3 UBM-22 APF SDS round can penetrate the sides of most MBTs, and some, like the Challengers, can be defeated right through the front. Additionally, the 2 S-38's turret is unmanned. On the one hand, it's great. Subcaliber rounds of your opponents often just disable the gun and do no more harm. On the other hand, its high profile and limited gun depression make it difficult to fight effectively on uneven terrain. It's best to hide the hull behind concrete barriers or other solid obstacles to keep firing while remaining safe. In War Thunder, vehicles armed with the Soviet 57mm gun are perfect for players who enjoy aggressive tactics, flanking maneuvers, and versatility. What tactics do you personally use with the ZSU-57? Share your experiences in the comments below.